I think like film, at least for me, film allows me to like express my hard work and my dedication. Whenever I get locked into a project, it kind of consumes my life, at least for sure. And that, you know, being able to have something to show for it, all this hard work, all the time, all the days, like staying in, you know, working, like I said, for me, it's more of like that satisfaction of having a finished product and just working hard and having that final project to really showcase, like, here's what I've done, here's what I've been able to create, like, here's what I can do. I really appreciate that.
Film creation for me is just it's the ability to tell someone's story, being able to like express someone's story and show the artist a way that people won't see is something like that means a lot to me.
People have been stopped going to theater because of Disney Plus, Netflix, all those streaming services, but it's not the same. You gotta watch it on a big, a wide, a colorful screen with amazing sound around you. Like, it is so much better, 10 times better. And like movies on exclusive to streaming, they're not as good as the ones in the theaters. They're the best.
Film, a visual medium that allows creatives to tell stories and shape the minds of all who see it. This art transcends time and serves as a form of communication that continues to mark pivotal eras in history. But the film industry faces an alarming decline. Empty movie theaters, less movie productions, and reboots instead of original ideas are all contributing factors.
I'm going to start my senior year at the University of Miami. I'm studying motion pictures production there. I've always liked film as a kid. I always found it very interesting, and you know, I chose to pursue that path, you know, as my future. Like more of the, you know, the hard work that goes into like, you know, making a project happen and coordinating with everybody. Like that's, most people are like, you know, they go in it for the art, you know, and this is kind of where, you know, people differ. You know, I kind of like that experience and that process of creating something, you know, and from an idea and just seeing it all the way through to the end. At least in my opinion, I feel like it's, you know, you go to the movie theaters and it's all remakes, you know, like it's sequels, it's, you know, like, you know, you go to, like, you look at the billboards and it's all like movies that we've all seen growing up, you know, and it's cool, like everyone likes seeing, you know, the rest of the story, but, you know, it's kind of getting old. At least I feel like there's only like maybe one or two, you know, original movies in the theaters right now. You know, the rest of them are all whatever movie 4, 5, 6, you know, so it's like you see it's the same, kind of like the same thing over and over again. Whereas like, you know, my parents are older, so I grew up on like older movies and stuff like that. So watching all like, you know, all those movies, like every movie was different, you know, everything had its own kind of character and its own story for sure. It's not easy to create, you know, something that's like extraordinary, you know, and definitely like Interstellar was not anything, or any of his movies, the Nolan movies, are like on just any like basic level. That he always takes it to another level, and that's some, like, you know, taking it to that next level is like what these movies lack, and they're doing what works, they do what's quick, what's easy, and they're doing it the cheapest way they can, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business.
The way film is right now, people's not only attention span, but I feel like theaters aren't even going to be like a thing in a few years, because everyone just has a theater on their phone. Open up Netflix, open up YouTube. That's why my Offstage series is all on YouTube, where I put the short form content on Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. So people's attention span isn't the same anymore. Me personally, I don't have the time to come in a theater and watch a movie, so I just open up YouTube and watch a 20-25 minute video.
Streaming services are major contributors to a dramatic drop in box office numbers. According to the Motion Picture Association of America, ticket sales in North America have decreased significantly in 2020 and have slowly been rising as of 2024. But the numbers aren't the same anymore. The main culprits include Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, and more. Several up-and-coming filmmakers and veterans at Filmgate Miami shared their takes on how we now consume media.
My day job is that I'm operations manager over at Filmgate Miami. It's a local nonprofit that's dedicated to emerging media creators, like not just traditional film, but also like digital media, kind of like immersive or interactive media as well. So we're just all about like science, art, tech, everything. We're all super about it. So I think one of the main things that have contributed to probably the lack in like audiences, I mean, of course streaming is like a big reason why now it's just way more accessible, but I think also the quality of what we can find online has become oversaturated. There's now a saturation of content that we can find that is like specifically curated to people's interests and niches. Also, secondly, it would also be that what happened pre-2010 is that TVs and online series, they've become cinematic quality, if that makes sense. What made the cinema a different experience was that watching movies was like the highest quality mass media you would consume like maybe 10, 15 years ago. But now it's just extremely accessible, not just on screen, but also like in Game of Thrones or like Breaking Bad. There's a lot of TV shows now that are like very cinematic in nature that it's kind of blended our what we judge online and what would be in a theater. Now it has to be something that really is like an artistry work, like Oppenheimer, for example. That was like a worth the theater experience to go in because this was crafted to be like an in-theater experience that's unique to that. So I think that's why like it's easier for all of us to be critics because we're drawing from so much data and also other people's opinion. Never before has it been more accessible to reach other people's takes on media, and that also informs us more as the viewer. And I'd say that's probably the difference between like a general consumer today in 2024 versus a general consumer in 2004.
Now people are turning to streaming services like Netflix, with more than 260 million subscribers worldwide. Award-winning movies like The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and Coda are exclusively on streaming platforms. So this begs the question, is streaming expected to be the new normal, and will the theater experience be obsolete?
I'd say we're in the era of experimentation in the sense that we're mixing and matching a lot of different genres. We're trying out stories that have never been seen before. So for example, Everything Everywhere All at Once, that was story, maybe it's been made, but on that grand of a level and put in front of mainstream audiences as well. That low-key, totally an indie film, but it did really well and it even won the Oscars. And this movie that was definitely like a risk, it carried so much and continued to just have greater impact beyond just being a unique story.
Part of what makes cinema transcend generations are the creators behind these works.
I'm a kid who, since I was a kid, anytime something bad happened, I would go into my room and I would play make-believe. That's how I did everything. I attacked the audience with the feelings most of the times, and I really try to, in a way, I guess it sounds bad to say, but trigger the audience when I can with my best work. I try to bring things you forget that happened or how you felt a certain way when you were a kid. Warner doesn't care about making art. Neither does Disney, and neither do most major film companies. They don't give a hoot about anything other than how do we make money off of this. As far as nostalgia goes, the nostalgia is always going to be there. That's the 20 and 30 year cycle. It repeats itself over and over because the people who become the people with expendable income, disposable income, get older. So you get Rocko's Modern Life in 2015. A lot of times what I find people have criticisms with, they're talking about businessmen. They're not talking about artists. Very rarely will you see, I made a movie, Last Option. I wrote the movie that, it reads like a superhero movie. It's a fun, bouncy movie where you get to turn your brain off and eat popcorn and forget about the wars and horrible atrocities going on in the world and the political climate being horrible. You want to make all the movies great? Get rid of every movie studio.
Part of what makes cinema transcend generations is the heart and souls of the creatives behind these works. The talented creatives are out there. There is no single reason causing the major shift in the way we consume cinema. But maybe this is a sign that we are in a renaissance period, where the next couple of years will define the industry for the new generation.